The ancient philosophy that can save your life. Stop. Before you watch another minute, ask yourself one question. What if the life you're trying to build is the very thing destroying you? Not tomorrow. Not someday. Right now. Because the greatest danger is not failure. It is living without ever questioning the life you were handed. Most people never choose their beliefs. They inherit them from parents, from schools, from strangers, from a world that rewards obedience more than wisdom. They wake up. They work. They worry. They sleep. Then they repeat. Again. 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 Until one day they realize they were alive, but they never truly lived. The frightening part is that this prison has no walls, no chains, no locked doors, only invisible habits, invisible fears, invisible lies. And the worst lie of all is believing that you still have plenty of time. Ancient philosophers discovered something that most people will never understand. Life is not short. Attention is. Every distraction steals a piece of your existence. Every unnecessary desire takes another piece. Every moment spent chasing approval pulls you further away from who you really are. One day you will look back, not at the money you earned, not at the praise you received, not at the battles you won. You will ask yourself one terrifying question. Did I truly live? Or did I simply exist? That single question has shattered more hearts than failure ever could. Because deep inside, every human being knows when they have abandoned themselves. This is why philosophy matters. Not because it gives you more information, but because it teaches you how to see reality without illusion, without excuses, without fear. And if you stay until the end, you may discover that the life you've been searching for has never been waiting. In the future, it has been waiting for a different way of thinking. The greatest deception is not being lied to. It is believing you already know the truth. Think about it. How many of your thoughts are actually yours? The fear of failure, the hunger for success, the desperate need to be accepted. Who planted those ideas inside your mind? Very few people ever ask. Because questioning is uncomfortable. And comfort has become the world's favorite addiction. The ancient philosophers refused to live that way. They challenged every belief, every desire, every opinion. Not because they loved arguing. Because they loved truth. Marcus Aurelius once realized that the mind can become its own kingdom, or its own prison. The choice was always yours. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack every single day. After a while, you stop feeling its weight. Not because it became lighter. Because you became used to the pain. That is exactly how people live. They become comfortable with anxiety, comfortable with comparison, comfortable with pretending, until suffering feels normal. But philosophy interrupts that pattern. It asks a question that changes everything. What if the problem is not your life, but the way you see it? That question cannot be answered in 5 minutes. It demands honesty. It demands courage. It demands silence. Because truth rarely shouts. It whispers. And only a quiet mind can hear it. Most people spend years trying to change the world. The Stoics started somewhere else. They changed the observer. Because once your perception changes, reality begins to change with it. That is why the strongest person is not the loudest, not the richest, not the most admired. The strongest person is the one who can face themselves without running away. Everything else is temporary. But self-mastery lasts a lifetime. Most people spend their entire lives waiting to feel ready, waiting for confidence, waiting for the perfect moment. But the perfect moment never arrives. It is invented by people who stop waiting. The Stoics understood a brutal truth. Your future is not created by hope. It is created by your daily choices. Every morning, you build your character, or you weaken it. There is no middle ground. Every decision leaves a mark. Every excuse becomes a habit. Every habit becomes a destiny. Look closely at the strongest people you know. They are not fearless. They simply refuse to let fear make their decisions. That is the difference. Most people ask, what if I fail? The philosopher asks, what if I never begin? One question creates anxiety. The other creates action. Life has never demanded perfection. Only honesty. Honesty to admit your weaknesses. Honesty to face your mistakes. Honesty to stop blaming the world. Because blame feels powerful. Responsibility makes you powerful. The moment you stop saying, they ruined my life, you become dangerous. Because now, your future belongs to you. Ancient philosophy never promised an easy life. It promised a stronger mind. And a stronger mind can survive almost anything. Storms will come. People will disappoint you. Dreams will collapse. Time will take away everything you love. But there is one thing life cannot steal: a disciplined mind. That is your final fortress. The one place where freedom can never be taken. Protect it. Build it. Live by it. Because once you master your own mind, you stop becoming a victim of the world. And you become the author of your own life. There is something even more dangerous than failure. Comfort. Because comfort never announces itself. It whispers. Stay where you are. Tomorrow will be better. You've done enough. And little by little, your potential falls asleep. The Stoics never feared hardship. They feared a meaningless life. They knew that an easy path often leads to an empty destination. Look at nature. The strongest trees grow where the winds are the harshest. The brightest stars appear in the darkest skies. Nothing extraordinary is created without resistance. So why should your life be different? Every challenge carries a hidden invitation. Not to suffer, but to evolve. Pain is a teacher, not a home. Stay with it long enough to learn the lesson. Then keep moving. Most people ask life to become easier. The philosopher asks to become wiser. That single shift changes everything. You stop seeing problems. You begin seeing training. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? You start asking, what is this trying to teach me? The answer will not always make you happy, but it will make you stronger. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that fire does not destroy everything it touches. Sometimes it transforms it. The same is true for adversity. It can consume you, or it can refine you. The choice is never made by the event. It is made by your response. That is where freedom lives. Not outside you. Inside you. The moment you realize that your response is your greatest power. No person, no failure, no disappointment can truly control who you become. There is one habit that quietly destroys more lives than fear ever could. Comparison. The moment you compare your journey to someone else's, you abandon your own. The Stoics never measured success by applause. They measured it by character. Because applause can disappear in a single day, character remains when everything else is gone. Think about it. The people you admire today will one day be forgotten. The trends that seem important will fade. The opinions keeping you awake will be replaced by new opinions. Time erases almost everything. So why give strangers the power to define your worth? The philosopher looks inward, not outward. He competes with the person he was yesterday. No one else. That is the only competition worth winning. A diamond never asks a piece of glass for permission to shine. The sun never waits for the world's approval to rise. Nature never compares. It simply becomes what it was created to be. Perhaps that is the lesson. You were not born to imitate. You were born to discover, to uncover the person hidden beneath fear, expectation, and endless comparison. The strongest identity is not built by copying greatness. It is built by living according to your values. Silently, consistently, every single day. When your attention returns to yourself. Peace returns with it. Because the mind no longer wanders through other people's lives. It finally comes home. And in that moment, you realize freedom was never found by becoming someone else. It was found by becoming who you truly are. There is a question that almost nobody asks. Not, how can I become successful? But, what is success costing me? Some people gain wealth and lose peace. Others gain recognition and lose themselves. Many spend years climbing a mountain they never wanted to climb, only to discover there was nothing waiting at the top. The Stoics refused to worship achievement. They worshipped virtue. Because achievement depends on the world. Virtue depends on you. A title can be taken. Money can disappear. Beauty will fade. Power will change hands. But wisdom cannot be stolen. Discipline cannot be borrowed. Integrity cannot be purchased. These are the treasures time cannot destroy. Imagine standing before a mirror, not to examine your face, but your character. Would you respect the person looking back? Not because of what they own, but because of how they live. That is the mirror ancient philosophy asks you to face. It is uncomfortable, because truth has no interest in protecting your ego. It only asks one thing: become better than you were yesterday. Not louder, not richer, not more admired. Better. A better mind. A better heart. A better human being. Because in the end, your greatest legacy will never be the life people saw. It will be the character they felt. And long after your name is forgotten, the way you treated others, the courage you carried, and the principles you refused to betray will continue to shape the world without anyone knowing your name. One day, everything you own will belong to someone else. Your house, your money, your achievements, even your name will slowly fade from memory. This is not a reason to fear. It is a reason to awaken. The Stoics practiced a powerful idea. They remembered that life was temporary. Not to become pessimistic, but to become present. Because when you remember that your time is limited, you stop wasting it on meaningless things. Suddenly, every sunrise feels like a gift. Every conversation matters. Every decision carries weight. Death does not make life meaningless. It gives life meaning. The person who believes they have forever will always delay what truly matters. I'll start tomorrow. I'll forgive later. I'll become the person I want to be. One day. But one day is a dangerous illusion. The only moment you have ever owned is this one. Right now. This breath. This choice. This second. The ancient philosophers never asked, "How long will I live?" They asked, "How well will I live?" That question changes everything. You stop counting your years. You begin counting your moments. You stop chasing a perfect future. You begin creating a meaningful present. Because a meaningful life is never built by accident. It is built one decision, one habit, one act of courage at a time. When you finally understand that every day could be your last, you also discover how every day can become your greatest masterpiece. And now, you know the truth. The ancient philosophy was never about escaping the world. It was about escaping the prison inside your own mind. You searched for peace in success, in money, in recognition, in other people. Yet the answer was never outside. It was waiting within you. The Stoics left behind no secret formula, no magic solution, only one timeless reminder. You cannot control what happens to you, but you can always control who you become. That changes everything. Because once you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you finally have the strength to master what truly matters. Your thoughts, your choices, your character. From this moment, life will continue to test you. Some days will break your plans. Some people will break your trust. Some losses will break your heart. But none of them can break your spirit unless you surrender it. Remember this. A calm mind is stronger than a loud opinion. A disciplined soul is richer than endless wealth. A person who has mastered themselves cannot be defeated by circumstances. That is true freedom. Not freedom to do whatever you want, but freedom from fear, from anger, from envy, from the endless need for approval. Perhaps that is why these ancient ideas have survived for more than 2,000 years. Empires disappeared. Kings vanished. Civilizations fell. Yet wisdom remained. Because truth does not grow old. It simply waits for someone ready to hear it. So before you leave, ask yourself one final question. If today was the day your real life began, what would you refuse to carry into tomorrow? Think carefully. Because your answer will shape the person you become. And perhaps years from now, you will look back at this very moment as the day you stopped merely existing and finally began to live.